Hello friends. Have you ever wondered what happens when two of the most emotionally rich signs in the zodiac collide? When the dreamy Pisces man meets the nurturing Cancer woman? It's like two waves meeting in the same ocean, soft, fluid, but capable of creating tides strong enough to reshape the shorelines of their lives. Today, let's dive deep into their cosmic chemistry, exploring every aspect of this soulful connection, from their first spark to the long-term rhythm of their hearts. After watching, if you'd like to support the channel, click the Thanks button right under this video or use the donation alerts link in the description. Your support really helps me keep creating. And of course, if you enjoy the content, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Thanks so much for being here. Now let's continue. Chemistry. Initial attraction. When a Pisces man and a Cancer woman first cross paths, the energy between them feels less like a meeting and more like a remembering, as if their souls had been circling each other through lifetimes, waiting for the right moment to collide again. There's no need for performance, no need for pretense. The moment their eyes meet, a quiet awareness settles between them, a feeling that they are standing in the presence of something ancient, gentle, and fated. The Pisces man radiates an aura that is difficult to define, part mystery, part melancholy, part poetry. There's something in the way he speaks, as if every word he chooses carries a secret emotion behind it. His eyes, dreamy and soft, seem to hold oceans of stories, of longing, of music that never stops playing in the background of his mind. Cancer feels that instantly. She is drawn not just to his charm but to his depth, to that vulnerable stillness that seems to ask for understanding rather than admiration. The Cancer woman, on the other hand, glows with emotional warmth. There's a serenity about her, a grounded femininity that feels like home. Her presence soothes the restless tides of Pisces' heart. She doesn't have to say much. A smile, a small gesture, or the way she listens with her whole being makes him feel seen. Where others might misinterpret his dreamy nature as distraction or weakness, Cancer recognizes it as a sacred sensitivity. She sees his tenderness not as fragility but as courage. Their attraction is spiritual before it is physical. It's an exchange of emotional frequencies, a resonance that happens beneath the level of conscious thought. Pisces feels safe with her in a way he rarely does. He senses in Cancer a woman who will never mock his dreams, who will never dismiss his feelings as too much. Meanwhile, Cancer senses in Pisces a man who won't judge her for caring deeply, for feeling everything, for needing reassurance and connection. Together, they create a world where emotions are not just allowed, they are celebrated. From the outside, their first conversations might appear ordinary, two people talking about work, weather, or the little things that fill daily life. But beneath every sentence, there's a quiet current pulling them closer. Their laughter flows naturally, like water finding its way downstream. Even silence feels intimate, heavy with unspoken understanding. It's as though each moment they share rewrites the space around them, softening it, deepening it, turning it into something sacred. Pisces, the eternal romantic, finds himself mesmerized by the softness in Cancer's eyes, the eyes that seem to carry the whole sea within them. He notices the way she listens, the way her emotions color her face with honesty. She's not guarded, she's real, and that realness disarms him. Cancer, meanwhile, is captivated by the way Pisces sees the world, not in straight lines, but in waves and hues. He brings out her imagination, her forgotten dreams, and reminds her that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a kind of beauty. Their chemistry isn't about fireworks, it's about gravity. It's not a burst of passion that fades as quickly as it appears. It's something that unfolds slowly, like dawn. Every shared look becomes a small revelation. Every touch carries meaning. They find comfort not in excitement but in connection, in the realization that they don't need to perform to be loved. Pisces often falls first. His imagination runs wild after their first meeting. He finds himself daydreaming about her, the sound of her laugh, the warmth of her presence. He writes her into his private universe, not as an idea but as a muse. Cancer, though more cautious, feels the same pull. She might take longer to trust what she feels, needing emotional assurance before she dives in. But once she does, her devotion is deep and unwavering. What makes their attraction almost magical is how instinctively they feel each other's needs. If Pisces becomes quiet and introspective, Cancer doesn't pressure him to explain. She simply stays close, offering her presence like a soft light in the dark. If Cancer becomes anxious or withdrawn, Pisces reaches for her with tenderness, offering reassurance not through logic but through love. This mutual empathy creates a bond that's rare, a connection where neither has to hide their emotional truth. There's also an unspoken sensuality in the way they interact. Their chemistry is not loud or overt, it hums quietly beneath every word. The smallest touch, a hand brushing against another, a shared glance that lingers, can feel electric. It's as though their energy fields overlap, forming a soft, invisible cocoon where only they exist. Their bodies, like their souls, communicate in whispers. They might find themselves drawn to places that mirror their inner worlds, near the ocean, under the stars, in quiet cafes filled with music and candlelight. For them, romance isn't about grand gestures, it's about moments that feel timeless. A walk by the water where their fingers intertwine says more than any poem could. Yet beneath all this beauty, there's something deeper, a sense of recognition. They don't just fall in love with each other's personalities, they fall in love with the familiar ache they both carry, the need to feel understood in a world that often misunderstands sensitivity. Pisces has spent his life feeling too soft for the world. Cancer has spent hers trying to protect her heart from being hurt. When they meet, it feels like an answer, like coming home. This connection, however, comes with responsibility. Because they feel so deeply, they can easily become consumed by each other's emotions. The trick, for them, is balance, learning to flow together without losing themselves in the current. But in the beginning, when everything is new and luminous, that merging feels blissful, like two rivers meeting to form one ocean. It's also worth noting that their attraction thrives on emotional sincerity. A Pisces man can sense insincerity from a mile away, and a Cancer woman's intuition is equally sharp. If either one tries to hide behind emotional armor, the connection weakens. Their chemistry depends on openness, on the courage to be raw, to say, "This is who I am, flaws and all." When Pisces tells her about his dreams, even the unrealistic ones, Cancer doesn't laugh. She listens. When Cancer confides her fears, Pisces doesn't try to fix them, he simply holds space for them. This mutual respect creates the foundation for a love that feels not only romantic but profoundly spiritual. Over time, this initial attraction matures into a deep emotional resonance. The more they learn about each other, the more they realize that their connection goes beyond compatibility. It's a merging of energies, a shared understanding of life's subtleties. They might not even be able to explain why it feels so right, it just does. And perhaps that's the most magical part, the fact that their love begins not with logic or reason, but with intuition. The Pisces man doesn't analyze why he's drawn to her, he simply knows. The Cancer woman doesn't list reasons for trusting him, she simply feels. In a world obsessed with explanations, their connection stands as a quiet rebellion, a reminder that the deepest truths in love are often the ones that can't be explained at all. Ultimately, the chemistry between a Pisces man and a Cancer woman is not about perfection, it's about resonance. It's about finding someone who speaks the same emotional language, who dances to the same invisible rhythm. Together, they create a kind of harmony that feels both ancient and new, a love that doesn't burn, but glows. And in that glow, they find everything they were ever looking for: belonging, tenderness, and the beautiful, wordless recognition that they were meant to meet. Emotional dynamics. The emotional world between a Pisces man and a Cancer woman is like standing at the edge of a vast, moonlit ocean, one moment serene and silver calm, the next swirling with unseen currents. Both are water signs, and their hearts operate not on logic or structure but on feeling. Emotions for them are not background noise, they are the very fabric of existence. They breathe emotion, they speak it, and they often find themselves submerged in it completely. For a Pisces man, emotions are like tides, unpredictable but deeply meaningful. He doesn't just feel things, he absorbs them, like the ocean taking in the rain. He can sense tension in a room, pain behind a smile, or sadness in a tone of voice. It's not something he does consciously, it's simply who he is. This sensitivity makes him compassionate, imaginative, and loving, but it also leaves him open to being wounded by the world. When pain hits, he doesn't always face it head-on. Instead, he drifts into the safety of his dreams, where reality cannot touch him. The Cancer woman, by contrast, builds her emotional world like a beautifully fortified sanctuary. Her emotions are deep and powerful, but they are organized, protected by walls of instinct and care. She feels just as deeply as Pisces, but she channels her emotions into nurturing, protecting, and maintaining stability. Her love is fierce, like the tide that shapes the shore, patient but unyielding. She craves security, emotional consistency, the kind of love that doesn't just speak but shows up, again and again. When these two come together, their emotional connection feels almost telepathic. They don't need explanations, they sense shifts in each other's energy. A Pisces man may wake in the night and feel that something is wrong with her, even if she hasn't said a word. A Cancer woman might know he's hurting before he does. Their empathy forms an invisible bridge between them, allowing them to walk across each other's inner worlds as if they were their own. Their communication goes beyond words. A glance, a sigh, a change in tone, these become entire conversations. When Pisces feels misunderstood or lost, Cancer instinctively reaches for him. She holds space, offering comfort through touch, through patience, through her presence. She doesn't need him to be perfect, she needs him to be real. And Pisces, moved by her quiet devotion, responds with tenderness that borders on reverence. He brings emotional poetry into her life, words that make her feel not just loved but seen. But their shared emotional intensity can also create storms. When two oceans meet, the waves can crash as easily as they can dance. Cancer's need for reassurance, for certainty, can sometimes clash with Pisces' fluid nature. He moves through emotions like mist, always shifting, always evolving. She, seeking stability, may interpret his fluidity as distance or disinterest. Her instinct then is to cling tighter, to build thicker emotional walls, afraid that if she loosens her grip, he will drift away. Pisces, feeling this tightening, might retreat even further into his inner world, not out of coldness, but out of self-preservation. He doesn't thrive in emotional confrontation, it exhausts him. He wants peace, not battles. When he senses tension, his first instinct is to escape, to retreat into imagination, music, solitude, or spiritual reflection. Unfortunately, this withdrawal often hurts Cancer the most, because she interprets it as rejection rather than self-soothing. The secret to their emotional harmony lies in learning the rhythm of each other's tides. Cancer must understand that Pisces' retreat is not abandonment but renewal. He needs to drift so he can return whole. Pisces must understand that Cancer's need for reassurance isn't control, it's her way of feeling safe in love. When he meets her halfway, with gentle consistency, her emotional waters calm. When she gives him the freedom to flow, his affection deepens. Together, they create an emotional balance that feels like art, the merging of chaos and calm, dream and devotion. Their empathy becomes their compass. When they are in sync, they move through life like dancers, anticipating each other's moves without a word. Their emotions intertwine like ocean currents, each feeding and guiding the other, never fully separate, never static. In their relationship, sadness isn't feared. They both understand that tears are not weakness but release, a way of cleansing the soul. Pisces may cry over the world's pain, Cancer may cry over the beauty of love. But neither judges the other. Instead, they hold each other in silence, letting emotion flow without shame. That's their strength. They make each other feel safe enough to feel everything. At times, their connection can become so consuming that they forget where one ends and the other begins. They feel each other's moods like weather. When one is cloudy, the other feels the rain. This level of empathy can be overwhelming if not managed carefully. Without emotional boundaries, they risk merging too deeply, losing individual identity in the name of love. Cancer must remember that she cannot protect Pisces from all pain, and Pisces must learn that disappearing into fantasy won't protect him from reality. When they establish trust, true trust, something miraculous happens. Cancer learns to open her shell, revealing her softest parts without fear. Pisces learns to stay grounded, to anchor his dreams in her steady love. They become each other's emotional sanctuary, a safe place to retreat when the world feels too loud. Together, they create a love that doesn't just feel good but heals. And healing is what defines their emotional dynamic. Pisces brings emotional depth and imagination that help Cancer see life's beauty even in uncertainty. Cancer offers emotional structure and devotion that help Pisces feel safe enough to dream. Their connection becomes a mirror, reflecting both their light and their shadows, teaching them that love is not about avoiding pain but growing through it. When conflict arises, it's rarely because of lack of love, it's because of too much feeling. A careless word, a misread silence, or a moment of withdrawal can trigger waves of insecurity. But if they remember that they're on the same side, that they're not fighting each other but their own fears, they can transform even emotional storms into opportunities for deeper understanding. Over time, they learn each other's emotional languages by heart. Pisces realizes that reassurance doesn't cage him, it frees him from misunderstanding. Cancer realizes that space doesn't mean absence, it means trust. They become fluent in emotional rhythm, able to move through highs and lows with grace. In their most harmonious moments, the emotional connection between them feels almost divine. Their love becomes a meditation, still, flowing, endlessly deep. They find beauty in vulnerability, power in empathy, and peace in knowing that they never have to hide their hearts. Pisces teaches Cancer that it's okay to dream beyond safety. Cancer teaches Pisces that safety can be its own kind of dream. Theirs is not a love that burns, it flows. It nourishes, heals, and evolves. It's a reminder that true emotional connection doesn't demand perfection, it asks only for presence. And in that presence, they find not just love, but transcendence. Ultimately, the emotional dynamics between a Pisces man and a Cancer woman are an exquisite paradox, a constant dance between sensitivity and strength, fantasy and reality, need and freedom. It is both storm and stillness, heartbreak and homecoming. But when they learn to trust the water, to float rather than fight, they discover that they were never drowning at all. They were learning to swim together, forever carried by the same compassionate tide. Long-term compatibility. The long-term compatibility between a Pisces man and a Cancer woman isn't just a fleeting promise, it's a quiet epic written in the language of trust, patience, and shared emotional rhythm. When these two water signs commit, they do so with their whole hearts. Their bond deepens not with grand gestures, but through the consistent act of choosing each other, day after day, even when the tides of life pull in different directions. A Pisces man approaches love like a poet approaches art, fluid, imaginative, and open to mystery. He believes in soulmates, in destiny, in the kind of connection that transcends time and space. The Cancer woman, grounded in emotional realism, doesn't just dream about love. She builds it brick by brick, nurturing it with loyalty and care. Together, they form a partnership that balances fantasy with foundation. He paints the dream, she constructs the world that sustains it. In the long run, this relationship thrives on emotional safety. Pisces finds in Cancer a harbor from the storms of his mind. Her love isn't loud, but it's unwavering. It steadies him when his thoughts drift too far from shore. Cancer, in turn, feels seen and cherished by Pisces' idealism. His way of loving is soft yet profound, reminding her that security doesn't have to mean stagnation. His presence reignites her sense of wonder, showing her that routine and magic can coexist. Their compatibility grows like the ocean, quietly, endlessly. Each year, they discover new depths in each other. Pisces' sensitivity softens Cancer's fears, teaching her that not everything needs control to be safe. Cancer's loyalty gives Pisces the courage to dream even bigger, knowing that no matter how far he drifts into imagination, there will always be someone waiting to guide him home. Over time, they become each other's emotional language. They learn how to comfort without speaking, how to soothe without fixing. Their relationship evolves into an emotional symbiosis where love isn't just felt, it's lived. Their home becomes more than a place, it becomes a feeling, warm, luminous, layered with memories. Soft music, candlelight, the smell of something cooking slowly, these are the symbols of their life together. Their home radiates the love they've built, a sanctuary for both body and soul. However, long-term love between them isn't effortless. Pisces' emotional fluidity can sometimes look like inconsistency to Cancer. He may become absorbed in dreams, projects, or inner thoughts, unintentionally leaving her feeling unseen. For a Cancer woman, this triggers her instinct to protect, to cling, to pull him closer. But her desire to secure the connection can, at times, feel suffocating to Pisces, who values freedom as much as love. When this happens, the key to lasting harmony lies in remembering their shared emotional truth. Both act out of love, not opposition. Pisces isn't withdrawing to escape her, he's seeking clarity. Cancer isn't holding on to control him, she's holding on because she cares. Once they realize they are on the same side, compassion replaces fear, and love rebalances itself naturally. Their relationship's resilience lies in forgiveness. They don't hold grudges for long, they can't. Both understand the fragility of human emotion, and both would rather restore harmony than win an argument. When Pisces makes mistakes, as dreamers often do, Cancer forgives him, not because she ignores the pain, but because she understands his intent. When Cancer becomes overly protective, Pisces forgives her, seeing her fear as an expression of love rather than control. Their empathy becomes the glue that keeps them whole. In the long term, their bond takes on a spiritual quality. Love becomes more than romance, it becomes purpose. Pisces finds meaning in caring for Cancer's emotional world. Cancer finds meaning in nurturing Pisces' soul. Together, they turn everyday life into something poetic. A walk at dusk, a shared cup of tea, or a quiet conversation at the end of the day becomes sacred ritual. They age beautifully together because both value emotional growth. Pisces' nature ensures that their love never feels stagnant. He's always reinventing affection, always searching for new ways to express devotion. Cancer ensures that the relationship remains grounded, safe, and real. The blend of her practicality and his imagination creates a love that feels timeless, not because it avoids change, but because it embraces it gracefully. Their connection is also deeply healing. Pisces teaches Cancer to release the past, to forgive herself for old wounds. He shows her that vulnerability can be strength. Cancer teaches Pisces to face the present, to anchor his dreams in tangible reality. She gives his love structure, his spirituality a home. Together, they turn each other's emotional chaos into peace. There are seasons, of course, when their emotional waters become turbulent. Life challenges, financial strain, family responsibilities, or simple fatigue can stir waves of misunderstanding. Pisces may retreat into escapism, Cancer may retreat into silence. But what sets them apart is their shared instinct to repair rather than run. They circle back to love because it's their nature to nurture, to understand, to heal. Their longevity is also tied to their shared vision of home and family. Cancer, the natural caregiver, often takes the lead in creating domestic warmth, but Pisces adds the element of dream and meaning. Their home may be modest or lavish, but it will always be emotionally rich, filled with art, sentimentality, and the quiet hum of contentment. To outsiders, their relationship may appear peaceful, even uneventful, but beneath that calm exterior lies a world of emotion, imagination, and loyalty that only they fully understand. Spiritually, they evolve together. The Pisces man's intuitive understanding of the unseen harmonizes beautifully with the Cancer woman's instinctive connection to emotional truth. They find shared meaning in kindness, empathy, and compassion, not just toward each other, but toward the world. They might volunteer, create art together, or simply spend hours talking about the mysteries of life. They share not only love but philosophy, a belief that emotions, when honored, are sacred. In times of distance, emotional or physical, their bond remains intact. Pisces may drift into his inner sea, but he always carries Cancer's love as an anchor. Cancer may retreat into her shell, but she never forgets the warmth of Pisces' touch. Even in silence, they are connected, like the moon and the tide, influencing each other from afar. As they grow older, their love becomes gentler, wiser. The passion of youth gives way to quiet devotion. They begin to cherish small rituals, morning coffee, evening walks, shared glances across a crowded room. Their relationship becomes less about excitement and more about peace, a sense that they've found not just a partner, but a true companion for the soul. Perhaps their greatest strength lies in their shared willingness to keep loving. When storms come, they don't flee, they adapt. When misunderstandings arise, they don't shut down, they listen. Pisces softens her edges with dreams, Cancer grounds his imagination with care. Their love is a dialogue between heart and spirit, between emotion and faith. In the long term, this pairing doesn't just survive, it flourishes. Their love matures like fine wine, growing deeper, more nuanced, more forgiving. They learn that forever isn't about perfection, but persistence, the courage to grow together, to forgive often, and to keep choosing tenderness even when it would be easier to harden. By the time years have passed, their connection feels less like romance and more like soul fusion. They become each other's calm, each other's compass. And though life may throw storms their way, their love always finds its rhythm again, steady, gentle, eternal, like the tide returning faithfully to the shore. That is the magic of their long-term compatibility. It's not built on fantasy or fleeting passion, but on a shared emotional truth, that love, when nurtured with empathy, understanding, and forgiveness, can truly last a lifetime. They don't just love each other, they heal each other, again and again, until the end of their days. Communication conflict resolution. Communication between a Pisces man and a Cancer woman is a dance of empathy, intuition, and emotional resonance, a kind of language that exists beneath words, where feelings speak louder than speech ever could. They don't always need conversation to understand each other. Sometimes a glance, a sigh, or the smallest shift in tone conveys more truth than an entire conversation could. Their connection is instinctual, and at its best, it feels like emotional telepathy. When Pisces looks into Cancer's eyes, he reads her like a poem. He senses her moods, her worries, her unspoken needs. And when Cancer watches him, she sees beyond his smiles. She knows when he's drifting, when something inside him is hurting, even if he hasn't said a word. This unspoken understanding creates a powerful bond. But ironically, it can also create one of their biggest challenges, the assumption that the other person always knows what's going on. Because their communication is so intuitive, both may fall into the trap of silence. Pisces may think, she already feels what I mean, why explain it? Cancer may think, if he really understands me, I shouldn't have to tell him. But love, even between two water signs, needs words. Without them, emotions build like waves without an outlet, and what once was harmony can turn into misinterpretation. The Pisces man often expresses himself through emotion rather than explanation. He might communicate his love through art, through music, through his gentle touch or soulful eyes. When he's happy, his affection radiates effortlessly. When he's troubled, he may withdraw into his creative or inner world, hoping his partner can sense what he can't articulate. The Cancer woman, though deeply intuitive, still needs verbal reassurance. She longs to hear that she is loved, appreciated, and safe. Pisces' silence, though never cruel, can sometimes leave her wondering if she's being forgotten or misunderstood. Cancer communicates through care. Her gestures, cooking his favorite meal, creating comfort, remembering the details of his day, are her way of saying I love you. But she also values emotional dialogue. When Pisces drifts too far into abstraction or silence, she begins to worry. She might overthink, analyzing every gesture, every pause, every tone. The irony is that Pisces, sensing her unease, might withdraw even more to avoid confrontation, thinking space will help, when, in truth, it only deepens her anxiety. When conflict arises, both retreat, but for different reasons. Pisces avoids tension because he detests emotional discord. He feels conflict as a physical ache, something that disrupts his inner peace. His instinct is to disappear into calmness, to take refuge in solitude or daydreams until the storm passes. Cancer, meanwhile, internalizes pain. When hurt, she pulls into her shell, protecting her heart until she feels safe again. She might grow quiet, distant, or overly cautious, not out of anger, but out of fear that expressing herself will make things worse. The result? Silence layered on silence. The room fills with emotion so thick it's almost tangible, but neither knows how to break it. Pisces waits for the mood to soften naturally. Cancer waits for him to reach out. And while they both ache to reconcile, pride and fear often hold them still. The turning point comes when they remember what unites them: empathy. Their emotional intelligence is their greatest gift. If Pisces can resist the urge to float away, if he can stay present, grounded, and speak even when words feel clumsy, he shows Cancer that she is worth the discomfort of vulnerability. And if Cancer can resist interpreting every silence as rejection, if she can trust that his distance is not disinterest but overwhelm, she gives him the space to open up freely. When they finally talk, their communication can be profoundly healing. They tend to speak softly, choosing words that hold care rather than accusation. Cancer might say, "When you go quiet, I start to worry," and Pisces, hearing the vulnerability beneath her words, responds not defensively but with empathy. "I didn't mean to make you feel that way. I just didn't know how to say what I felt." In that moment, the wall between them dissolves. They remember they're not opponents, they're allies against misunderstanding. Their secret weapon in communication is gentle honesty. Pisces needs to remember that disappearing doesn't protect love, it isolates it. Cancer needs to remember that vulnerability, not control, creates closeness. When they communicate from softness rather than fear, even their conflicts become opportunities for deeper intimacy. Over the long term, they develop a unique rhythm. Pisces learns to articulate his emotions, even imperfectly, because he knows Cancer values clarity. He realizes that honesty, even when difficult, strengthens trust. Cancer learns to listen beyond words, recognizing that sometimes Pisces' silence carries meaning, not avoidance. She stops demanding instant reassurance and instead learns to read the quiet nuances of his love. Still, their communication isn't always smooth. Pisces' tendency toward escapism and Cancer's emotional sensitivity can cause small misunderstandings to spiral into emotional distance if left unchecked. But they rarely stay disconnected for long. Pisces' compassion and Cancer's loyalty make reconciliation almost inevitable. They can't stand to see each other in pain for too long. What distinguishes their conflict resolution from most couples is that neither seeks dominance. Pisces doesn't need to win arguments. Cancer doesn't crave control, she craves closeness. Their goal, consciously or not, is harmony. Even when disagreements arise, the tone is more emotional than combative. A few tears, a quiet conversation, a tender embrace, and suddenly, everything is okay again. Their love language, empathy, is what ultimately bridges every divide. Empathy allows Pisces to sense when his words wound her, even unintentionally. Empathy allows Cancer to see that his withdrawal isn't rejection but vulnerability. This shared emotional awareness transforms their conflicts into emotional growth. Every disagreement becomes a mirror, reflecting how deeply they care. When they master this dynamic, their communication becomes almost sacred. They begin to see that every conversation is an act of love, every word, every silence, every reconciliation. Pisces learns that clarity doesn't ruin mystery, it deepens trust. Cancer learns that softness isn't weakness, it's strength. Together, they cultivate a space where words flow freely, but even when they don't, love still speaks. In their most evolved form, their conflicts stop being battles and become dialogues of the heart. They might still stumble, Pisces still drifts, Cancer still retreats, but they recover faster each time. Their empathy matures into wisdom. They start to anticipate problems before they grow, intuitively knowing when to talk, when to listen, and when to simply hold each other in silence. Over the years, this emotional fluency becomes one of their defining strengths. Friends might admire how effortlessly they communicate, but the truth is, it's not effortless. It's intentional. They've learned that love isn't about mind reading, it's about the courage to express what the heart feels and the grace to listen without judgment. In essence, the communication between a Pisces man and a Cancer woman is not just verbal, it's soulful. It's the language of compassion, of gentle truth-telling, of emotional courage. And when conflict does arise, as it inevitably will, they meet it not as enemies but as two tender souls learning, once again, how to speak the same beautiful, unspoken language of love. Physical intimate connection. The physical and intimate bond between a Pisces man and a Cancer woman is not a mere collision of bodies, it's a merging of souls, a blending of energies that feels at once ethereal and deeply human. When these two water signs come together, they don't make love in the ordinary sense, they create love, weaving emotion, vulnerability, and tenderness into something that feels almost sacred. Their connection is the kind that doesn't demand attention from the world. It thrives in whispers, in shadows, in the quiet rhythm of two hearts beating in perfect unison. For a Pisces man, intimacy is never about conquest or control. He approaches physical connection as an extension of his spirit, a sacred exchange rather than an act of desire alone. When he touches, it's with reverence. When he looks at his partner, it's as if he's seeing not her body, but the essence behind her eyes, the soul that called to his from the very first moment. The Cancer woman, in turn, experiences physical love as emotional safety. For her, intimacy is the moment she feels seen, cherished, and protected. She gives her body only when her heart feels secure, and once it does, she gives it with a depth and devotion that feels eternal. Together, they build a world that belongs only to them. Their chemistry is soft, flowing, and full of emotional resonance. There's no rush, no urgency, only trust. They find beauty in slowness, in the small gestures that speak volumes. The way his fingers trace the curve of her face as if memorizing it, the way she holds him afterward like she's holding his dreams inside her palms. Their connection is tactile, yes, but it's more than that, it's felt at a level words can barely touch. Theirs is a love that engages all the senses. The sound of breathing in sync, the smell of comfort and warmth, the touch that says, "You're safe with me." When they're together, the world outside fades, leaving only the soft glow of understanding between them. Every touch becomes a conversation, every kiss a promise. It's not lust that drives them, it's a yearning for unity. They don't want to own each other. They want to dissolve into each other, to experience love as something infinite, boundless, almost divine. For the Pisces man, this connection feels like a prayer. He loses himself in the emotion of it, letting intuition guide him. His love is fluid, shifting with the moment, tender one instant, passionate the next. The Cancer woman matches this rhythm beautifully. She feels his moods like tides, responding instinctively. Her nurturing nature makes her an intuitive lover, one who knows when to lead, when to follow, and when to simply be. In her arms, Pisces feels grounded, understood, and whole. There's a cinematic beauty to their encounters. The light is often soft, candles flicker, shadows dance, and time itself seems to pause. They don't chase intensity, they create atmosphere. Every moment feels composed, deliberate, as if their connection itself is art. They understand that intimacy is not just about the act but about energy, the emotional current that flows between two people who truly see each other. And this energy deepens as their trust grows. For Pisces, who can sometimes struggle with feeling unseen or misunderstood, Cancer's emotional loyalty is the ultimate aphrodisiac. When she accepts him, his sensitivity, his fragility, his tendency to drift, his love for her becomes transcendent. Likewise, when Cancer feels Pisces' unwavering affection, when she senses his soul's devotion beyond mere words, she opens fully, allowing her vulnerability to become a source of strength, not fear. However, their physical bond is deeply tied to their emotional state. If one feels wounded, misunderstood, or distant, the physical connection falters. Pisces, ever the empath, absorbs Cancer's mood instantly. If she's hurt, he feels it like a physical ache. And Cancer, attuned to emotional undercurrents, senses his withdrawal even when he says nothing. Their intimacy thrives only when both feel emotionally safe, when reassurance flows as freely as affection. This makes communication outside the bedroom vital. Emotional honesty keeps their sensual world alive. When Pisces reassures Cancer of his devotion, when he tells her that her love anchors him, she relaxes into trust. When Cancer creates a safe space for Pisces to be his unguarded self, his sensuality blooms in response. Their physical connection is therefore not built on fantasy but on authenticity, on the courage to be raw and real with each other. For them, love isn't about passion alone, it's about presence. When they make love, they are not escaping reality but creating a new one, a private sanctuary where they can breathe, dream, and heal. They exist outside of time, wrapped in the quiet hum of intimacy that feels both grounding and transcendent. It's in the way they linger after, tangled in silence, letting the stillness speak. It's in the unspoken vow that they are safe here, together. Their connection often feels like coming home. It's the deep exhale after years of holding one's breath. Pisces finds in Cancer the warmth he has always searched for, the proof that tenderness can be returned. Cancer finds in Pisces the emotional intimacy she's always longed for, the feeling that love can be both safe and passionate at once. Even years into their relationship, their physical connection doesn't fade, it evolves. Their desire matures into devotion. Passion becomes comfort, and comfort becomes sacred. They may not always chase excitement, but they always return to depth. They rediscover each other in new ways, through small gestures, quiet nights, shared laughter, and each rediscovery reignites the flame that has burned since the beginning. Their lovemaking becomes a mirror of their souls. It reflects their empathy, their forgiveness, their understanding. When they've argued, it becomes reconciliation. When they're joyful, it becomes celebration. When they're tired, it becomes restoration. It's an unspoken dialogue that bridges emotional distance more effectively than words ever could. And because they both feel so deeply, they are capable of transforming physical intimacy into healing energy. Pisces brings spirituality, a sense that love itself is divine, a gateway to something beyond the physical realm. Cancer brings grounding, a reminder that the divine also lives in the human touch, in warmth, in comfort. Together, they blend heaven and earth, spirit and body, dream and reality. Yet, their sensitivity means that physical connection is never casual. They can't separate emotion from touch. Every embrace carries meaning. This makes them incredibly faithful lovers, not because of duty, but because they simply can't imagine anyone else understanding them so completely. Their intimacy becomes a secret language, spoken only in the space between heartbeats. Even their silences after love are profound. They don't rush to fill the quiet. They lie there, listening to the rhythm of each other's breathing, feeling the pulse of connection that hums beneath their skin. In those moments, everything feels right, as if all their past heartbreaks, all their searching, led to this one infinite stillness. For a Pisces man and a Cancer woman, intimacy is the sacred meeting point of love and soul. It's where dreams become tangible and emotions become touch. It's not about lust, not about perfection, it's about being fully seen. When they're together, truly together, they feel like two halves of the same wave, distinct yet inseparable, rising and falling in eternal harmony. And that's what makes their physical connection so extraordinary. It's not just about pleasure, it's about peace. It's not about desire, it's about destiny. In each other's arms, they find both passion and prayer, the rare and beautiful sensation of two souls, finally, finding their way home. Shared values, life goals. When it comes to shared values and long-term visions, the Pisces man and Cancer woman move in the same emotional current, a current that values love over luxury, connection over competition, and meaning over materialism. At their core, both crave depth, not flash. They seek lives that feel right, not just look right. To them, emotional authenticity isn't optional, it's sacred. Their shared devotion to empathy, compassion, and human kindness forms the foundation upon which they build everything else: their relationship, their home, their dreams. Pisces, the eternal dreamer, sees life as a canvas, a place to paint meaning through experience, imagination, and emotion. Cancer, the nurturer, views life as a garden, a space to plant love, tend to it, and watch it grow. And together, These two metaphors merge beautifully. Pisces inspires Cancer to dream bigger, to see beyond the boundaries of practicality. Cancer, in turn, grounds Pisces, helping him transform those dreams into something tangible, something they can both live and feel every day. Their values align not through logic but through heart. They both believe that love is not just an emotion but a way of life. They value kindness, not performative but quiet, genuine kindness. They care deeply about the people they love, often to the point of self-sacrifice. This shared instinct to nurture makes them natural caregivers, not only to each other but to the world around them. It's not uncommon for this pair to be drawn to humanitarian or creative paths, things that allow them to make a difference or bring beauty into others' lives. Cancer's compassion takes the form of tangible care, cooking a meal, offering comfort, protecting loved ones. Pisces' compassion flows through empathy and imagination, writing, art, spiritual reflection, or even simply listening to others with a kind of soulful attentiveness that makes people feel seen. Their shared desire to help gives them a common purpose. Together, they often dream of building a life that heals others in some way, whether through creative work, charity, or the family they nurture. Their home often becomes a haven not just for themselves but for anyone who needs love, safety, or a reminder that goodness still exists in the world. There's a gentleness in the way they live, a refusal to become hardened or cynical. They'd rather believe, even when it hurts, because faith in love is part of who they are. When it comes to life goals, they do have differences, but these differences are beautifully complementary. Cancer seeks stability, emotional security, and a sense of belonging. She wants a home that feels warm and safe, a partner she can trust, and a life that's steady and predictable in the best way. Pisces, on the other hand, seeks freedom, not the reckless kind, but spiritual and creative freedom. He wants to explore, to evolve, to find beauty in unexpected places. Where Cancer builds roots, Pisces grows wings. This could cause tension if misunderstood, but when they communicate and trust, these contrasting desires actually balance each other perfectly. Cancer becomes Pisces' anchor, the safe harbor where he can return after drifting through life's waves of inspiration. She gives him a sense of structure without suffocation, grounding him when his dreams threaten to carry him too far. In return, Pisces reminds Cancer that life doesn't have to be all caution and routine, that sometimes, the most beautiful things happen when you let go. He teaches her to believe in magic again, to trust her heart's intuition rather than just her fears. Together, they build a life that's both practical and poetic. Cancer ensures that bills are paid, promises are kept, and the emotional foundation is solid. Pisces ensures that the air in their home always carries a trace of wonder, music, laughter, spontaneous adventure. Their shared goal is not to build an empire but to build a sanctuary, a place that feels like a refuge from the chaos of the outside world. They are deeply family-oriented, even if they define family differently than most. For Cancer, family means a circle of emotional safety, loved ones she can care for and protect. For Pisces, family is any group of souls bound by love and shared dreams. This makes their home warm, open, and welcoming. They often become the couple everyone gravitates toward, the ones who throw intimate dinners, offer heartfelt advice, and remind their friends what love really looks like. Money and material success aren't top priorities for either of them. They value comfort, yes, but not extravagance. For Cancer, financial security represents emotional stability, a way to ensure that she and her loved ones are cared for. For Pisces, money is simply a means to an end, a way to buy time for creative or spiritual pursuits. While this might cause occasional friction, Cancer worrying about savings, Pisces spending freely on inspiration, they usually find balance by blending practicality with faith. Cancer learns to trust that not everything can be planned, while Pisces learns that some structure helps dreams thrive. Their shared spirituality also binds them deeply. Both view life as more than the physical. They see patterns, purpose, and poetry in the unseen. Cancer feels the divine in love and family. Pisces finds it in art and imagination. Together, they build a belief system that honors both, a balance of heaven and home. They might meditate together, pray, volunteer, or simply talk for hours about the meaning of things. Their relationship is full of soulful exploration, always seeking connection beyond the surface. Another value they share is loyalty, not just to each other but to their ideals. Neither of them loves casually. When they commit, it's with their whole being. They may forgive easily, but they don't give up on those they love. They see love as something sacred, something worth fighting for. That makes them resilient as a couple. Even when life throws storms their way, they cling to each other, trusting that emotional truth will guide them through. Their life goals evolve organically over time. Early in the relationship, they might dream of simple things: a cozy home, meaningful work, shared adventures. As years pass, they often turn their focus outward, wanting to give back. They might start a business that helps others, create something artistic that moves people, or become deeply involved in their community. Whatever form it takes, their shared ambition always circles back to love, spreading it, protecting it, living it. What makes their shared values so strong is that they feel them rather than intellectualize them. They don't sit down and list goals like a corporate couple planning a 5-year strategy. Instead, they move intuitively, following what feels right for their hearts. This makes their journey organic, flowing, and aligned with who they truly are. Even their disagreements about priorities are softened by empathy. Cancer may sometimes wish Pisces were more practical. Pisces may wish Cancer worried less. But deep down, they know they're aiming for the same horizon: peace, love, and fulfillment. Their methods differ, but their destination is shared. As life partners, they model what emotional intelligence in love looks like. They remind each other, and everyone around them, that success without meaning is hollow, and that true happiness is found not in status, but in sincerity. They live by a simple creed: to love fully, to care deeply, and to keep dreaming no matter what. In the end, their shared values and goals fuse into a beautifully balanced life, one part stability, one part wonder. Their days are filled with creativity and comfort, with purpose and play. They don't chase the world's definition of success, they define it for themselves. To them, success is waking up next to someone who understands your heart, someone who believes, like you, that love isn't just the point of life, it is life. And so, hand in hand, they build their world, tenderly, intentionally, and with an unspoken promise that no matter where life leads, they will always choose kindness, compassion, and each other. Because for the Pisces man and the Cancer woman, love isn't just a shared value, it's their entire philosophy of living. Final thoughts. When a Pisces man and a Cancer woman fall in love, they don't just build a relationship, they create an emotional symphony. It's a melody of trust, tenderness, and timeless connection. Their love is the kind that grows quietly, like ivy, wrapping around their hearts, becoming inseparable from who they are. It's not always easy. The same sensitivity that unites them can also test them. But when they learn to navigate their tides with patience and open hearts, they discover a love that's not just enduring, it's healing. In a world that often values logic over feeling, the Pisces-Cancer bond reminds us of something profoundly human: that real strength lies in softness, and true love is not found in perfection, but in empathy. So, if you ever witness a Pisces man and a Cancer woman together, don't be surprised if they seem to live in their own world, a quiet, luminous place built from shared dreams, where words are few but love is endless.